Hey guys, I'm getting my materials around to build a kid's bow, and it's going to give me a real good opportunity to show you maybe another way to do recurve tips or reflex tips, whatever you want to call them. This one right here that's already done is an example of how the tips come out. And so what I'm going to do is I'll take the limbs there that I have, and I'll cut them into the pyramid limb shape, and then I'll show you how we recurve those. All right, with my limbs cut out and cleaned up on the saw, next thing I have to do is make a line right here. Now I've gone down 10 inches and made a mark, and what I want is a nice straight line right down the middle of that limb to give me a mark for a place to cut. And so I'm gonna just hold that on there and drag my finger along the edge of the wood, which usually gives a pretty good straight line. Let me reposition here just a little bit. Okay, so that's where we're going to cut. And we're going to cut like this. And so I'm going to stop here and show you this setup so you can see how I've got my bandsaw rigged up for this. So ideally, if you had a fence on your bandsaw, you could line that up and you could get a really beautiful cut right down the side there. But this is rigged up so that I've got a block of wood anchored on there, and this gap right here is just the same width as what I want to cut down the end of that board. And so if I go in there and keep that snugged up against that board, I should get a real nice cut off of it. So anyway, yeah, just the corner of this board is what I'm holding up against between the board and the saw blade is where I want my limb to go. So I'll get that set up and give it a try. All right, that seemed to come out pretty good. It's hard not to wander just a little bit, but it's pretty even on both sides, so we'll be able to glue that up and get it on the form. That'll be what's next. All right, guys, no matter what you do here, it's going to be messy. I've got a piece of cardboard on the floor there, keep the glue from piling up. But what you got to do is get this spread apart here and get glue all the way down in and cover all that wood on both sides. And it's really hard down there in the end. I'm gonna kind of split it apart as far as I dare without hurting anything. And then I've got a piece here that's very thin. It's just part of a cut off limb, off the edge of a limb, and that'll help me to get in between there and really get that glue all the way down there. So I'll let you watch me fight with this thing, and I'll try to get all that glue on there. Okay, guys, I got this all glued up really nice in between here. There's lots of glue all the way down. The next thing I need to do is take this stretch wrap and go all the way around it just as tight as I possibly can. That helps hold it together, and also it just kind of helps contain the mess a little bit after I get it away from this cardboard. So just the very best I can, I'm going to keep that tight. I kind of pinch it a little bit ahead of myself. It's a little messy. Just keep that just as tight as you can possibly get it. Alright, just like that. Go just a little ways past the glue line there. And you got it. All right, we'll end up doing that to both of our pieces, but I'll show you what it looks like on the form next. All right, guys, so here's the form we're going to clamp this limb to. I like to, and basically this is just a 2x4 with a 1x2 piece screwed to the top. That seems to be a height that I can work with. You can make it higher, you can make it lower. I generally try to push this limb tip right out to the end. Now I've got a mark made here at 5 inches, and I'm gonna put my kind of the inside of my clamp right on that. You can manipulate that curve by where you put this. You can make it a little tighter if you move it up, or a little shallower if you move it back a little bit. Yeah, within reason. If you go too far, you're gonna maybe run the risk of making it split out on you. But this should work pretty good. And there's enough room on here for both of our pieces, so we can have them glued up side by side. So I'm just gonna run this thing down until it hits the board, just like that. Now this is scooted back a little ways just because it's kind of pulled on it, but that's the curve right there. That it won't stay quite that much when we get done with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other one glued up and put it in here, and I'll give you one more shot of what that looks like when they're both sitting there together. All right, guys, that's both limbs in the form. They're just fine to set overnight. We'll take them off tomorrow and see how they look. They should just be identical. So yeah, we'll wait till tomorrow and we'll take them off. All right, we've sat overnight. We're ready to take them off the form. We'll just go ahead and take these clamps off. They spring up just a little bit. Take those off. There we go. But I think they came out real nice. So we've got a couple of limbs there that are have now recurve or reflex in the tips, and we'll be able to. We're going to mount those on a handle for a kid bow. So anyway, there you go. I'm gonna set up here and show you how we would do a full length stave if we were doing that. All right, I just wanted you to see what it would look like if you were actually doing a whole bow instead of just bow limbs. What it would look like to get the tips reflexed. And so I just, same thing, same treatment to both ends, and then a little 2x block on each end with a clamp down same distance from the end. And so you're basically only gluing that last 10 inches of each limb. I did want to point out, if you're going to do this, and if you're anything like me, you're kind of finicky about your glue line. And these glue lines are good, except when it gets right down to where you finished your cut, that's not going to come together. It's going to be apart there, right, the width of the blade. So it comes together pretty quick as you come along there. Uh, and I have not had any kind of a failure because of it. But I wanted you to know what to expect if you do try it. That's the way they turn out. So I do think that's a pretty slick way to get some reflex in the limb tips. I've used it on a lot of bows, and so I just wanted to share that with you. And thanks for watching.